And we are live. Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Train Effective podcast.
Let's
I'm your
go.
host, Hashir, and obviously, if we can hear already, Nick Humphreys. Welcome back. How are you, mate?
Good man. I was thinking about the first podcast we did a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, wow, man, I really enjoyed doing that. The second one with the American dude last week, it's great. So some really
Mikey.
good feedback on that. So I'm just pumped, man. I'm pumped, ready.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but I was on Twitter because I live there sometimes, and literally last night, like when and we all do it. Well, I don't know if you do it, but I do it. When you're supposed to sleep, but you're like scrolling. And I was scrolling, and I seen some coach. I forgot his name. Some coach, somebody post or share that podcast and say like, "Oh, like anybody looking to play in college,
Mm.
check this out." I was like, "That's really great. Like, I love that they
This is
took."
this is the value hash we want to bring to everybody listening. We're here with the sole purpose of educating, of sharing stuff that's going to be valuable to you. This is why we're doing it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's why we go at it for like 45 minutes to an hour versus like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Cause like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot to be learned. And I think nowadays with everybody, like podcasts, you can listen anywhere, even while you train.
Yeah.
Even while you train, you can listen to it. With that being said, today it's all about confidence. This word that we hear very, very often in direct messages in our Discord server, which if you haven't joined yet, you can join below on YouTube or on the Spotify little description. But we hear it in there. We hear it in one-on-one calls. We hear it at our camps and building confidence. First of all, Nick, I kind of want your like definition because I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like, what is
Mm.
confidence?
What is confidence?
Yeah, what is confidence? Like, how do you define confidence? Like, oh, there's a definition, but how do you define it?
I think confidence is the ability to be yourself, do the things that you want to do in any given situation, um, whether you're under pressure or not under pressure. It's the ability to just do what you want to do in any given moment, regardless of the circumstances.
Mm, mhm.
Mm.
That's
This
like
is this is my non-Webster dictionary. Like, I don't know how Webster dictionary whatever defines confidence. I have no clue, but kind of off the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense to me.
and I think it's an interesting point, and like I wanted to talk about it like deeply because like it it is kind of the basis for success and like not only like on the pitch, not only like in your shooting, but like off the pitch as well, like just in your normal life. Um and like building confidence, it's not like a snap of the finger. I'm confident. Like
Mm,
it can't like you've seen the TED talk with the power pose where you can do physiological things like to feel better and feel more confident. But for footballers, for soccer players, you're say you're 14, you're 15, you're 13, you're 12,
mm,
and you join this team and new
mm.
team, you're just not confident. You're there, essentially, you're there, so you must be a good player, decent enough player. But how do you build confidence? Like how do you build confidence?
Mm. And to give some context to everyone too, like um, as a player, right? When you because I've been in loads of different teams, met loads of different players. Um, People don't talk about confidence a lot. You might look at the teammate next to you, or your teammates in general, and no one really, no one like is none of your teammates are really gonna say something to you like, yeah, I'm not confident, or like they won't. No one really expresses it.
Yeah.
So when we started Train Effective and all those years ago and started actually talking to all these players that would DM us, because when you DM, people are writing and maybe we don't know them. They don't really, they're comfortable to talk to us, but we don't know them. So maybe that's why they're comfortable to actually share like what they're actually thinking. Um, it's actually the number one question we get, like how something related to confidence, like how do I be more confident? Or I can't whenever I get the ball, I just want to give it away because I don't want to make a mistake. Again, that's confidence. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all an umbrella of confidence. I am I am afraid to take shots in a match or in training because I don't want to miss. It's all confidence. All confidence. I don't want to try out for that team because I don't know if I'm good enough. Coach probably doesn't think I'm good enough. That's confidence, man.
Yeah.
It's all confidence, all confidence. So just to give some context here, like, boom, that's what we're talking about. And everyone, every single player, every single person in life, like, it's confidence, man. Everyone will always have this thing come up.
Yeah. And like it's so like it's such like it's such a spectrum. It's like such a wide thing that like in everything you do, like on the pitch, off the even in school. For example, I'm in school right now. I go to uni, and like I guess confidence matters as well. Like when you're taking a test, like and my kind of solution, and I don't know if this is similar for you as well in terms of training, but the more you do something, the better you get, the more comfortable you'll be with it. Hence,
Mm,
the more confident you'll be.
mm,
But here's the kind of like bump in the road. A lot of people, and I was guilty of this a while ago as well. So I'm curious to get your opinion on this. A lot of people will train a lot, train loads, right?
oh yeah.
But when it comes to match day, they might even feel good in the beginning, but like the second the game starts or the second they make a mistake,
Mm,
the confidence is gone.
mm, yeah.
So how do you address that? Because I was guilty of that all throughout high school. Loads of training, so much
Mm.
training, like known for training,
Y- And
but it
yeah.
wasn't sustained.
Oh man, I just thought of a couple of things. Like, you know what I was reading the other day as well, and I forgot where I saw this, but I like screenshotted it because I thought it was so interesting, and this kind of relates back to this picture of the guy. You might know him or her. They're training 3 hours a day or 6 hours a day, and they're training all the time. But then they come to a match or even to training in front of people or coaches, and you're like, wait, is this guy actually training that much? Because they just you see maybe their head drops. Oh, we've seen it with people that come in residence for the camps and stuff. Like we've seen
Yep.
this, right? Like very
Yeah.
dedicated, hardworking doesn't come off. And I think I saw a theory or some context the other day that I would love to hear your opinion. And it was something like I'm paraphrasing, but basically the whole thing was if like some players are so nervous of trainings, of matches, of doing any sort of performance in front of people when it comes to football because of the judgment they receive from their coaches. You know, the first scream that or the shout that a player says, like, "Hey, why didn't you pass me the ball?" Or the coach says, "What are you doing?" Or this kind of fear of getting that sort of judgment and that criticism. When you come from like a good household, so you have like loving parents, or you go to a good school, you like I don't know, maybe live in a middle class area, maybe even upper class area, you don't usually get these kind of things thrown at you.
Yeah.
You're like sheltered from this thing, and that's why actually a lot of footballers that you see, professional footballers, professional athletes, they come from these backgrounds that are a bit like less unprotected. People come from the streets
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
ghetto
Yeah.
or low income areas, so they like really trying to fight for their family, and they're willing to fight. They're willing to get chucked to the ground, or they're willing to get the criticism because that's how it was in their family and their environment.
Mm.
And I think I'm just
Yeah.
saying that because if you guys listening to this, you know just to put it in context of why you might be feeling this fear of not being confident, it's really normal because of the circumstances you've grown up in.
Mm. Mm. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, hold
Yeah,
up. Yeah. Okay, that's that. All right, listen,
I
that's
grew
that's
up.
kind of deep.
Yeah, should I keep talking? I don't know.
Yeah. No, go on, go on.
Okay,
This is a
like
good rabbit hole.
this is also why I think you and I, but me especially, I can relate to a lot of players that DM us because I grew up in the same environment. I've grew up in a very like a loving family, like a good family, like both my parents together. Like no one ever would have shouted at me for doing something wrong. I didn't get abused or something.
Yeah.
Things were good. I grew up in a good neighborhood. Like things are good. Like things were good. And part of what happened when I was younger and I started like training with these higher level teams, you get exposed to different people that you're not familiar with, people from different neighborhoods, different countries as well. Um, Things and an environment which is much more intense and demanding. It can be very hard to adapt if you've come from circumstances like me, maybe yourself as well, Hashir. But the
Yeah.
picture that the person I'm painting here, it can be hard because you're not used to that. And the way I always treated it, the reason why I wanted to push myself so much with football, and why I wanted to train with these professional teams and go for tryouts and stuff, even though the first times I got rejected, the reason was not only did I want to prove it, prove that I could bounce back and do it, but I felt like being in these environments which were intense, which were demanding, which you had pressure coming from all different sides on yourself, from others, other players, other coaches, other people watching you. I felt like that was going to be a good experience for me because the more people that tried to put me down, the more times I fell down, the more times I put myself in a space where I was actually pretty uncomfortable and very nervous, honestly. Like I did not look forward to going to tryouts. I did not look forward. I promise you, I did not look forward joining new teams and all this
Yeah.
stuff, or like meeting new coaches. I did not enjoy that because of the judgment, you know, back then. And but I did it as a challenge. I said, man, if I can be comfortable in this uncomfortable environment for me, it's going to be a good thing for my life. It's going to be a good thing as an athlete, as a footballer, and I will grow from this.
So,
Yeah.
so like the kind of like theme I'm getting is like you essentially exposed yourself to getting like that critique back, to getting like shouted at, like critique by getting uncomfortable essentially. So you, in essence, desensitized like yourself, like you immerse yourself in these environments where you're like, you know what, like I am gonna get yelled at, I might get yelled at by the coaches, I might be uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
I need this to grow. Yeah, is that
Whoa,
essentially?
man. Yeah, because when you get older too, and more of these pressures come, a lot of kids, like a lot of people will drop out. They have to make this choice where they actually like drop out of playing because they actually don't like this, this pressure, this challenge, or this judgment, or whatever, and so
Yeah.
they stop playing or they stop playing sports because of that same thing. For me, I was like, no, man, if I can get through this, I'm gonna be a stronger person. I'm gonna be more resilient. I'm gonna learn these skills, which are gonna just make me a better person, and prove to the. And I'll tell you a story, Hash, like, and to people watching. When I was so a lot of people know the story. Like I was a pretty average player growing up. I was like playing in Division 2 league in Canberra, Australia, where I'm from. And Division 2 is like not very good players. Like I mean, it's kind of average players. Definitely not the Division 1 players. But basically, when I was like 12, 13, I got called up to be in like the state team, like try out for the state team. And the state team is where it's at, like you want to be in the state team. But I remember also feeling a lot of pressure. So I remember this vividly. Okay, I was like, at 12, 13 years old. I was with my mom. My mom was driving me to the training facility where the state team was training. And I think there were like 40 players, 30 players, and they were making a selection maybe for the final 20, I think.
Yeah.
And so I was going to this training, and I was in the car, and I remember we're at this traffic intersection, and at the traffic intersection, next to traffic intersection, we're stopped at a red light. Like I could see in the distance this circle of players, all in black,
Yeah.
That was a team. They were warming up, and I was by myself with my mom that was driving me at the intersection at the red light, looking at this, and all of a sudden I was like, "No, man, I don't want to go." So we drove 20, 30 minutes to the training facility where this red light. I saw this. I felt so intimidated that
Yeah.
I told my mom, "No, mom, let's turn around."
What?
Yeah, I said, "Let's turn around." Like I felt that intimidated. I was like, "Mom, let's turn around." And I forget what my mom said. I think she was like a bit shocked, but I remember this. I was like making sure that when we passed that like training facility, like no one saw me. So I put my head down. I put my head down.
What?
I think I started crying. I probably started crying. This is real, man. Um,
I've never heard that. And for everybody listening, obviously I know Nick, but I've never heard this damn story, so it's
yeah,
kind of shocking to me now hearing this. Go ahead.
and I thought about it the other day, and yeah, no, I mean this like really happened, and yeah, I went back and yeah, obviously I didn't make that team because I never went to the training.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, back what I'm saying, guys, is like I experienced this when I was young, and after after succumbing to that situation when I was young, from that point on, when these challenges came up, I thought instead of backing down, I want to challenge myself and I want to get comfortable in this uncomfortable environment. So, you know,
Damn.
yeah.
That's so. And it's crazy to me because and this is like the bridge. This is the bridge, right? Because like you went from that to when you train when you, and like so recently I've been like low key like binging the 100-day challenge. And if you guys
Mm.
don't know what the 100-day challenge is, essentially Nick just decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and sign a professional contract in 100 days. Obviously that journey had been many years essentially building up, but that 100 days just what we saw essentially on YouTube. But there was a video where you literally went from Switzerland or something. I don't remember where, if it was there or Hungary, but Nick went to Leighton Orient FC in London, football club in London. He just rocked up, and he didn't just like have something arranged. This man went to the training ground on the like alleged first day of preseason that he saw like in the newspaper. And he's like going up like talking to, or he's going in the car with like two goalkeepers who are like on trial there, and like he's going to like the groundskeeper, and like then he's going to like the stadium and the secretary in there. Then he's talking to like the new head coach who's like, oh man, I'm really busy. Like I'm just like, you have to have like something about you. Like you have to have like a lot of confidence to never mind do all that, but just go on that journey. But do you think like how long do you think it really took you, Nick, to like solidify and like get like proper like permanent confidence? Or was it like a thing that you're always working on? Or how did that really go, if that makes sense?
By the way, where the day that Hash is referring to is on YouTube. It's I think day 78 or day 79 of the 100-day challenge on YouTube. So just if you want to see what Hash is referring to, look it up because that's one of the most popular episodes for sure.
Good fun.
But back to your question, is it something you build up over time, or is it something different? Well, I think it is something that you build up over time, and it's not permanent. You always have to, you know, even now I still work on it, but continuing from that story that Hash was saying when we're talking about when I was 12 and I was like in the car and we turned back and stuff. From that moment, it was the steps, and it's having a conscious sort of mindset that when you go in these situations where you feel uncomfortable, it's just being like, no, man. The more I get in these uncomfortable environments, the more confident, the stronger I'm gonna get. And so all these different situations happened a lot when I was a teenager, And then when I moved to Europe and moved to Budapest in Hungary,
Yeah.
and I had to start joining these new teams where I didn't speak the language. In Hungary, they speak Hungarian, guys, not English.
That's a big
Um,
one. The
yeah,
language that like bro,
yeah, and
like
I'd be 15, 16, then playing with senior teams where first of all they're adults, so that's a step when you're a teenager and then playing with adults. But second of all, you don't even speak the language,
yeah.
and it's a different culture and it's cold. And I came from Australia; it was hot. So, but all the things I learned that, and then playing in Holland, I played in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, then later Switzerland and stuff. Well, what I learned in all these situations, guys, is like everyone's the same. Like humans are the same, man. Footballers are all the same all over the world. Like, we look different. We have different styles of playing football. But when you go in a dressing room in Switzerland or go in a dressing room in Canberra, Australia, guys, football at the core, as we're just all the same people. All the same people with the same fears, the same doubts. You have good coaches, bad coaches, good players, bad. Like, guys, everyone's the same. And what I would just want to say with that is like, everyone's the same. Everyone has the same fears, the same doubts. As long as you go in these situations with a sense of, I'm gonna learn and grow in every single of these situations. The more uncomfortable I get, the more confident I'm gonna be in the long term. That's like the mindset you need to approach it. And over time, if you just continue with that, you'll get stronger and stronger and more confident, and you'll be a beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like got everybody listening. And really quick, just shout out to somebody and Spotify listeners. We obviously have a live chat going, and we have somebody that's going to be at one of our train effective camps in the comments saying, "I can't wait to join in April," and obviously we can't wait for you either. And on that, essentially, so if you are that 15-year-old, if you are that 14-year-old, and I remember Nick, this is actually interesting. My freshman year, so my first year of high school, ninth grade, I was 14 years old. We obviously have like the high school JV, junior varsity, and then the varsity team. And I remember ninth grade, everyone told me I had just started playing, right? But like I like played a lot. Everyone told me try out for the JV team, try out soccer, try out for soccer, try out for the school team, try out, try out, try out, try out. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't. I literally didn't think I was good enough. I didn't. And a big fear of mine actually was I was like, man, like all these players, like they play for all these clubs and these travel teams. Like I just like play like in my neighborhood with like older people, but I just didn't have that confidence, and I ended up playing recreationally, which was it was fun, but it didn't teach me as much as playing for that high school team would have taught me, because there you're training every day and it's just a much better environment. And that actually, looking back on it, Nick, like that might have actually contributed to like my lack of confidence when I played for the varsity team. Because when I eventually played for the varsity team, like I didn't have that much experience, like match experience. I had only been playing for a few years, and now I'm playing with players that are well currently or just recently played Division One soccer, kind of like Mikey. I played with Mikey on the same team. He was playing in the varsity team in ninth grade. I didn't get on that team until 12th grade, and I think like man, you can see like even players and teams that are like kind of average, like not that great technically, but they really believe in what they're doing. Bro, they'll just dribble through 4 or 5 people, like, and then on the other side you have like somebody who might have been training every day like diligently. He's not confident still after he makes a single mistake. He can't do anything for the rest of the game. It's useless. Um, and that's why I kind of nail home confidence so much, but kind of translating it to off the pitch, because that's one of the big things of our camps. I know a lot of things we would do in the Train Effective House and at our camps in general would be to kind of, yes, get you confident on the pitch, improve your technical ability, all that stuff. But we like probably more importantly, and a bigger focus is like, we want you to be like well-rounded human beings, like good people who go after things you want to go after. How has your football confidence translated off the pitch and whatever you're doing? Like, how do you do that? Because that's an interesting one.
Football is a mirror for life, and a lot of people say the way you conduct yourself on a football field, the way you play mirrors how you are in real life and what you do. Um, so back to my point about like being, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and growing from that. That's exactly sort of the mindset I have for anything now, like building train effective or just anything in life, even relationships, like just everything. So um, I think if you can develop your confidence in sports, if you can develop your confidence in football, it definitely translates to off the field. And I'm trying to think of an example again, like I remember this actually. You guys also might think like, what's my biggest fear? Um, what's my biggest fear? And for you guys, when you are like when you think about your biggest fear, maybe it's like, I don't know, spiders, or what's your biggest fear, Hash?
Tottenham winning the league. No, I'm just kidding. B- I don't know,
Think of your biggest fear.
probably regret, man. Like being
Regret.
like, yeah, regret, like deep in, like when I'm like old, like
but,
70.
but like actual situations. Okay.
Actual situation, like what would I actually be scared in
Yeah. What
actuality?
makes your palms like sweat right now?
An actual situation.
I would love to hear what people are thinking. By the way, if you have a comment, please drop it because
Yeah. Probably biggest fear is probably being in like okay, I know, being in a classroom and getting picked on to answer a question that I have no answer, like for the
Okay.
question.
All right. I have a similar one. And like people will be surprised by this, but like the thing that makes my heart race the most and makes my palms sweaty is public speaking. Like in a physical audience, like things like this, I'm okay. TikTok, you guys might see me on TikTok, Instagram, like no problem. But public speaking, like in a live audience, like it scares the crap out of me. Um,
Really?
yeah, this was one of my biggest fears growing up. By the way, I loved it when I actually did it.
Yeah.
The feeling after is like amazing, but before, far out, man. So this made me really uncomfortable. Um, but back to real life, like there was like this talk. You were there, Hash. We're in London together. I was like, Hash, like my old school invited me to go back to Amsterdam to like give a talk.
Yeah.
I was like, should I do it? And I was asking you at the time because I was not like there was going to be 1,000 people there, supposedly 1,000 people in a theater, and I was like 1,000 people watching me speak, like
And this in person. This wasn't
yeah,
like Zoom or anything. This was in person.
in person. Man, like maybe this was like 1 or 2 months before the actual talk, and my palms were like sweating, man. It was making me nervous. I didn't want to do it. But then coming back to this whole thing, and you actually said it, Hash. You're like, Nick, we're walking in the street in Barnet. You said something like, Nick, preach your positivity, or get your words out to that audience. They need to be inspired. You said something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You're right. I actually have something valuable I can say. And secondly, if I can get comfortable in this uncomfortable situation, it's going to benefit me. And so anyway, long story short, like I ended up being really nervous for that talk. Ended up flying to Amsterdam. I did that talk, and there was like literally 1,000 people there, maybe a little bit less, but it's the biggest crowd I've definitely talked in front of. And yeah, man, it was a blast. Killed it, and I want to do more of those in the future. And like that's one thing you get from building confidence in other areas, man. Like
And
so.
I feel like you also learn. It's like, bro, like fear is such a catfish. It's like in our minds when we're afraid to do something, so many times it's like it's just so blown up, and then you do it and you're like, man, like all that mental like capacity I just wasted for
Mm.
however long, and like it wasn't even actually that deep. Like, and like we really, really like fear it proper clouds our judgment sometimes. And that like
Uh,
again, you do it and you're like, there's not much to this. Go ahead.
Like there is not like the act of speaking. Think about if you just separate things, the act of actually speaking in front of audience or playing football in front of people or in front of a coach or whatever. It's there's nothing that you're doing the action like that's it. You know,
Yeah.
just like it's simple. But the way we complicate things is what does the other person think?
Hmm.
What does the coach think? What do the other players think? What does the crowd think? And this is a whole thing. Like, who cares? That's what confidence really comes back to in the end. It's like you're afraid to do that talk. You're afraid to go to that training or the tryout. I was afraid to do that when I was 12, going to that state team. I was afraid. I turned back only because what are other people going to think if I mess up?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
And
do they think of me? I'm the new kid in the state team, like, and they're kind of like they don't know each other. They don't know me. Like, I'm scared. I don't want to be in this situation. Like, what do other people think?
Nick, I'm like really like passionate about this like part of the talk because it's like that like actually brings a lot of people, not even just in football. Like you'll have like proper like well-known figures or just kids or students. Students is a big one. Like I remember I was in Boston a couple of weeks ago, right? And it occurred to me at a certain point when I was kind of in the midst of like everywhere. I was like, wow, like there's so many young people here that I'm seeing. Why am I seeing so many young people? Like, and I was like,
Mm.
Harvard is right there, Cambridge is right there. The other one I forgot what it was called. But all these northeastern, I think, all these universities in this tiny cluster right there. All these students vying for like, because obviously they're going to be good students. They're going to take care of their studies, like if they are going to these universities. But I'm like, man, all these students that are walking past me, probably there's so much like insecurity here, like like fear, like oh, am I doing better than this person in class? I have to get this grade, like. And a lot of people, a lot of college students as a whole, I see it as well because I'm on campus, but like they get so down and beat themselves up, man, because like other people's opinions. And that's when I'm like, no, like it's like control what you can control, and
Mm.
it's an important talk to have.
Yeah, control what you can control, and yeah, and if that still doesn't work, you guys might feel fired up and might be thinking now, like, yeah, these guys are right, Nick and Hash are right. But then tomorrow, your mind changes again. I think, yeah, the whole thing is like, do you wanna be 80 or 90 or 110 years old and like you can't do anything anymore and you're just reflecting on your life and you're thinking about the things that you did do, the things that you didn't do.
It's
That's
scary,
your
man.
biggest fear, right? Regret.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that Gary Vee video with the one
Gary
life,
Vee.
no regret,
Yeah,
life,
one
no
life.
regrets?
But and Gary Vee always has this thing where he says, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die.
Yeah,
You're gonna die."
it's real, man. We are.
And like we're gonna die. That's true.
does
So
that does that actually does that statement "you're gonna
mm,
die" because I like you hear it more now actually,
mm.
does that actually push you and motivate you to like be like, you know what, take this damn risk?
I mean, I think now like I've had people in people in my family in my life that have died. Like
Hmm.
I don't want to. I don't know if I should get deep. Should I get deep on this? Let's just say like okay, one I had one family member die like pass away like 2 years ago, um, and like very like close family member and everything. Like, but we're in hospital. The family and I were like together in hospital, and basically she was in the hospital bed for like yeah maybe a week before she actually died. But like in this kind of process of being in that hospital room and like I mean basically the life was going out of her it just made you reflect like how short life is, and like one day everyone, is not gonna exist
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to get so deep
Well,
there, but like
really
but
quick,
yeah,
Nick.
that statement does motivate me because it's true. I've been there. Like, people do die. People pass away. People might even like get disabled or like can't play football anymore, or might have some sort of accident that prevents them from doing
I,
what they actually wanted to do.
I think a big thing for me, and I know I like, guys, we're not trying to get like super like down or somber on this, but like there's a good lesson here because kind of similar to that. Not a family member. I had a barber, right? And this was like, Nick, like you would love this guy because he literally started cutting my hair in his like parents' house. Like he
Mm,
like turned one of the bathrooms into a little barber shop. And this was back in like 2016. Um, I would go to his house because like nobody knew how to like cut hair, like the designs I want. I want like the footballer designs, right? I want like a
mm,
line in
mm,
my head and everything. I would go to his, and he would tell me, he's like, yeah, man, like I want to do X, Y, and Z to like open up my own shop one day. Literally last year, he opened up his own shop. He like progressed to that level where he got so many clients out of his bathroom in his parents' house from his own
yeah.
money, his own tools and everything, like clippers. He opened up this barber shop, like I think like 2 weeks or a couple weeks in of like essentially living his dream of becoming a barber and having a shop. He just passed away, and I didn't even know this because I wasn't in touch with him at the time, but I seen it on Facebook, like funeral stuff for him, and I just like it's one of those jaw dropping moments where I'm like, man, like, bro, life is short, man.
Mm,
It's not. It's just, and I always tell this to people. It's life is too short to just put your goals and your dreams and the things you truly want to do on the shelf.
mm,
Like, bro, get after it. Go after it. Go after it. I always tell this to people that come to our camps. It's like, mate, go after it. Whatever it is, go after it. Especially if it's football, go after it. Because worst case, if if you don't get the outcome you want, at least you'll be able to say at the end of the day, listen, I gave it my all, and you can live fulfilled, rather than living with that regret of, man, I never even tried.
yes. People don't even try, man. Yeah, like fully, man. I mean, this is why we have Train Effective. Train Effective is not whatever, just camps or an app or content that you see. It's really what we are all about. Our why, our purpose is to encourage people, man, to push people to like go for their dreams, to push themselves, to make the first step. Like that's why we exist.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
It's why you made like actual like in 2014, 15, like the sketches, like the exercises. It was like, what, like how can I like just give back essentially to young players who also want to improve, and not even young players of all ages. The other day we had somebody, a player, like sign up for Train Effective Pro. And guys, if you haven't signed up for Train Effective Pro, highly recommend. You get access to all the content on our app, real for
That's the
like
most obvious
everything.
plug ever. Can we not
Yeah,
plug right now? Just get through the. What are you gonna do?
I just got, I gotta say it, shameless. But point is, I had somebody, bro. He was like 48. Because I asked people for their age, just to like context. He was 48 years old, man, from Canada. 48 years old, and he was like, I want to improve like my dribbling and first touch, and I was just like, I was in love. I was just like, this is fantastic.
You,
Like,
and you guys know the oldest footballer in the world, Kazoo, King Kazoo, guys. If you're ever like, am I? Is it too old? Am I? I'm 15. Is it too late to play football? Am I? I'm 25. It's too. It's never too late, man. King Kazoo. Google him. He's how old is he again? 50?
he's
48?
like 48, I think.
Yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
sure. Don't
this
quote me
guy
on
has
it. He's up there.
your parent, like most people's parents here are this kind of age. He's still playing professional football,
Yeah.
and because he
And
loves to. He doesn't have to. He loves to.
on age, actually, Nick, I was listening to something the other day as well, because you brought up like, like I'm 15. Am I too old? Am I 20? Am I too old? I was listening to Sky Sports, Jamie Carragher. They were talking about like more players like now, like earlier in their 30, like in their early to mid 30s are still playing. And it's like because people are looking after themselves better, we have like more information now. So it's like that age, like, bro, it you can't, you're not too old. You're not too old.
No.
That thing. Crazy. Okay, really quick, Nick. So guys, obviously if you've been listening to the first episodes, this has not been a segment, but it is now. And we're going to do something called rapid fire. Now, rapid fire, essentially, Nick, I have 9 questions here. Actually, 7 questions here. And I want you to answer them, like, obviously as quick as you can. And then after we're done answering, we'll kind of go through them and why you picked, like, each one. So right now, you're just going to go through quick, yeah? Ready? Spotify listeners, Nick is like flexing right now. He's like doing his best.
Take my shirt off. No,
game.
No. All right, let's go.
Are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, perfect. First one. You can win the World Cup or Champions League.
World Cup.
Oh, Liverpool or City to win the league this season.
Liverpool, because I like the Liverpool fans better.
Spicy. Maestro workout or anywhere workout?
Anywhere workout, because I'm gonna go to London next week and I'm traveling, and yeah, I need space to do stuff anywhere. Anywhere workout.
Speaking of London, you can live in either London or New York.
Because I've already lived in London, New York.
Like Coach Moses would say. Oh.
At Coach Moses for contest. Instagram at Coach. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, you had to be there. Natural grass or turf?
Natural. But by the way, can I add on this? I'm playing in a team right now in Switzerland. We have a couple of young players. I was overhearing a conversation the other day that the young players were like the 16, 17, 18-year-olds. They would rather play on the artificial turf than actual real grass, which was like nice grass. That's a generation shift for me. Like, can you? I used to only dream of playing on like Wembley like pitches, and now people actually prefer playing on the 4G. Couldn't believe it.
Man. It's not it.
Yeah,
me neither. I'm grass as well. Score from a corner or score from the halfway line?
Halfway line. David Beckham, my idol.
Well, to be fair, he scored from corners as well. And I think I know the answer to this. Slide tackling or step overs?
Slide tackling. I'm not a step over guy. I'm just not.
Yeah, I have another one. Full volley or half volley?
Full volley. It's just. I think half volleys are pretty. Are just way easier to execute than a full volley. Sorry. Yeah. Half volleys are way easier. So full volley for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can play for Real Madrid or you can play for Barcelona.
It's a good one. Madrid.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. That was the last one. Now, why Real Madrid?
I like the stadium better. The new camp is a kind of, I mean, it's traditional, a lot of traditions and history there, but I like the Bernabeu. I like the kids better. I mean, I don't know anything about Spain, or I don't know a whole lot about Spanish football.
Yeah.
But Ronaldo, Real Madrid, I'm more of a Ronaldo guy than a Messi guy, so
yeah.
Zidane. More players I like. They were at Real Madrid. So
yeah. So another thing, because this has been well documented in the past, and I don't know if people pick up on it, but like, Nick is like really passionate about slide tackles. We would train in High Barnet, and I was on the receiving end of a lot of really good slide tackles. It's those slide tackles that you get slide tackled and you're like, man, what the heck? But like, it's a good tackle and he's got the ball, but like you end up in the mud. So why do you love slide tackling so much? I just want to
I've
know.
always loved slide tackling. I think you know what my favorite celebration to do one day. Hopefully, this can be done in a full stadium one day. I still dream of doing it. Is the Drogba knee slide?
Oh yeah.
The Drogba knee slide, no, or the Rooney knee slide. I don't know who does it these days. Maybe Ronaldo knee slide, but definitely Drogba is the king of these knee slides.
Yeah.
So the Didier Drogba knee slide, I wanna do. But anyway, I love sliding. I love. Here's the thing about slide tackling. Yeah, usually slide tackling is a last ditch effort. It's the only possible thing you could do to block the ball, block the opponent from
Mm.
progressing further. And I'm so much about the underdog mentality, the kind of against all odds mentality. Like the ball's about to go on the goal, but you're the last one there to save it. That's all me. That's why I love slide tackling,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love sliding. I love sliding when it's wet, and like I
Yeah.
love this. So,
Just on that, I've seen a clip of this guy. He's on loan from Arsenal to
mm.
French club Marseille, and he had like a last ditch slide tackle on Mbappe in like the French Classico essentially. And the stadium went crazy, Nick. Like I think like last ditch slide tackles are similar to like goals sometimes, like the reaction you'll get. Um and like especially like it was pretty epic.
Did you see this clip on? I saw it on Instagram and TikTok this week. It's like this clip of this like he must be 13, 14, and he's like tracking back this opponent of his, and the opponent has a ball and he's like about to go over the halfway line, center circle, but he just comes back and like makes this perfect slide tackle. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. No, I
It's
kind
like
of
a
want to see it.
viral video. Like it's the first viral video I've seen of a really of a slide tackle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it must be like a crisp slide tackle. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I see a good Frank Lampard, I think he used to be like really good slide tackles as well. And I don't know. I do enjoy slide tackling. I've never been like physical, like so. I never slide tackle. I never really learned how. Unfortunately.
You're way more the step over guy than the slide tackle guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm usually on the receiving end of the slide tackle.
Yeah.
But yeah. I wonder what Corby would be because he kind of does both.
Just an all rounder. He'll do everything.
Everything. Thomas, Thomas, yeah, good players, but perfect. Okay, Nick. Kind of to wrap up, I do want to hear like your one golden rule if a player wants to improve confidence. Yeah, if 12, 15, 25, 30 years old, I want to improve my confidence on the pitch. What is your kind of golden message for them to keep in mind through it all?
My message is look, life is short. Life is definitely very short. Life is short. You got one life. Okay. And if you just live your life, never, putting both feet in the water, putting all of yourself in situations where, yeah, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to be the best that you can be. You're always going to be a shadow of what you could be. There's you, the full Hashir, the full Emily, whatever your name is, but you're always at this level. And if you're going to be at your best, your fullest, you got to jump in with both feet. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to enjoy these situations where it's not easy. And the more you get in these situations where it's not easy, mate, the more confidence you're going to have, the happier you'll be, and the more you'll just be excited for life and every challenge that's ahead of you. You'll be excited for challenges.
Love
That's
that.
it.
Love that. That's brilliant. And a last thing, because I have to listen. I gotta keep you accountable, right? Like somebody that's I gotta keep you in check.
Yeah.
What are you training next week on the app? Because I have a few of my days like scheduled, so I'm curious to hear yours first.
So next week I'm going to be at the camp in London that we got going. So I've actually have a lot of team trainings that are scheduled because we have a lot of obviously team trainings at the camp. So Monday's team training. A lot of days are team training, obviously, because with the camp. Maybe a match. Maybe I'll join in the match. And then in the evenings, there's a course on the Train Effective app called Art of Wing Play that I actually watched last week. And the art of wing play is basically like some tactical course to make you a better winger. And as a winger, I always get more confident actually in tactical situations and decision making from watching that course. So I'll watch that ahead of the match, and yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing so I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I have Get Fit Quick on Monday and
Mm,
Friday, and then on Wednesday I have Maestro workout. But for me, Get Fit Quick, man, like it's such an interesting one because it's like it feels good to you know when when like you're doing exercise and at a certain point you kind of hit that wall where it's like, oh shit, like it's like I'm like tired, like I'm proper like difficult
mm,
pushing past that, and then obviously completing your workout. It's
mm.
so satisfying to me, and obviously you're building your fitness, you're getting better. So that's what I have going on.
Yeah,
um
the Get Fit Quick one is good, and you got two exercises in there which I really like, or maybe it's three. And you got the 16 sprint. I think it's called
mhm.
16 sprint.
Yeah,
You got the what's that exercise hash where you run across the box? Um,
yeah.
uh,
I
yeah, if you guys go on Get Quick Fit workout in the app, like you'll see what I mean. But it's a really good one. And then you got the John Moses.
John Moses.
And the John Moses drill is just.
It
Haven't we mentioned it on this before? Did we
Yeah,
mention the first episode, the John Moses?
I think we have, but like the thing with that is like it you see it, like you see the video, right? But like you don't think like it's gonna be that difficult. Because I remember like I used to be like so not I'm not gonna say arrogant, but when I used to train, I used to see it like the first few times I did it, I'd be like, okay, like I just gotta do like four of these exercises and then this workout. Oh, I have to do the John Moses and like I'll be done. Bro, one rep of that John Moses, that backpedaling, the sprinting, your thighs
Your
will
thighs.
burn so much, and it's like, but again, it's like a afterwards. Like during it, you might hate it, but afterwards, it just like
Yeah.
feels so good to be doing
Guys,
that.
if you do the John Moses, like your thighs are gonna absolutely burn. Like you got to take a ice, like get some ice bath. Like you can't, you're not going to be able to walk later, you know.
Yeah,
But it's
and
good.
and that one is kind of scaled down, I'd say. Like
Yeah.
when we, oh man, when we have done it in London. I remember when I first ever came, yeah, and uh, he made us do it like over like literally like I would say 50 or 75 yards. That was right. It was the first time in my life I feel like I like actually cramped. Like my thighs were just like finished. I couldn't believe it. I was so
Yeah.
embarrassed because I was like, man, like here with Nick and Corby and like everybody training and like it's happening. Like I felt so awful. But like again, it was like a shock. It was like, mate, like you need to, your fitness might have been here your whole life and that was good fitness.
Mm.
That's not enough. It has to be up here, like
Yeah, and
baseline.
that's what John Moses did. Like John Moses, I never been as fit as when I trained with John Moses. At that 100-day challenge, and every time he's trained me before, like never been as fit. Like John Moses is just gonna push you like crazy until man, you just can't walk anymore. So that's the beauty of that John Moses drill. It's the beauty of John Moses, Coach John Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that guy. Perfect. Well, Nick, listen, that was brilliant, man. Love talking to you as always. And I'm sure everybody got lots and lots of value out of it. Of course, everybody, you can follow Nick on Instagram at Nick Humph, NickHumph. I'm Hashir Khan, HASHIRCAN, and Train Effective, of course. Follow Train Effective on Instagram at Train Effective, how it's spelled. As well on
Yeah.
TikTok as well. Train Effective
TikTok.
official.
Train Effective official on TikTok. 1.3 million followers, Hash. Like what?
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Oof.
And yeah. Also on my Instagram at Nick Humph, like I'm gonna be taking a lot of stories next week from the camp. So if you want to see a little insight into train effective life in London, make sure to follow those stories.
And shout out Jaden Taylor for recently signing for Watford FC. Jaden, get a hold of Ben Foster, the cycling GK, and have him come on our podcast. And yeah, that would be great. Perfect. Cool. Good
Sick.
speaking, Nick. And everybody, we appreciate you listening, tuning in. Until next time, as always, stay
Stay
effective.
effective. Yes.
Now we have to do that again. Surely we have to do that again,
Stay.
right?
All right, let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Stay
Stay
effective.
effective. Yes. Perfect.
Boom.